not to last forever because people will get burned out. People move on in their lives. People's ability to get along with each other and organize and feel they trust each other, that ebbs and flows too.
Now it's 1992, and Mr. M has planned to reform the team. But this time will be different. This time his vision is bigger, bolder. Mr. M wants to recruit, train, and build a highly disciplined team in new team that can outwit the casinos and bring in profits for many, many years.
Well, my vision to restart the team was based on a number of things. First, that Foxwoods was going to open and we would have this potential way to train people. Second, there seemed to be a renaissance in gambling. New
Want to see these ankles real quick?
A lot more places.
Ankles!
And Las Vegas.
Take full advantage of this new golden age of casino gaming. Mr. M needs a lot of players, at least 2 dozen, and a lot of money. $1 million. He needs an operation on a very large scale. A scale never seen before.
Timing has never been better. It'll be. More money, more bets. And the organization got big actually work. Why not? The bigger the better. We have the law of large numbers on our side. Look, all we gotta do is treat it like a real business. Run like a startup.
Do it right. Do an LP. Get financing.
Yeah, 1099 if we file our tax return. A real organization right now.
It worked.
Yeah, why happens? Wait.
A limited partnership formed with a singular goal: to outwit the casinos at their own game and make millions of dollars. Design. Mr. M and his partners know the venture is not without risk. In addition to the usual team money disputes, strategy mistakes, and pure exhaustion, they will have to contend with a daunting, in-your-face adversary, the casinos. And their henchmen.
Our business is to provide information to casinos all over the world about people who make a living cheating at gaming, or more recently, people who are known card counters.
I was kind of like a gaming mortician. I had to put some people down. I said, card counters are like temples. Once you mash them, they come back more and more and more.
Casinos have always employed some sort of method to combat undesirables, whether those be cheaters or counters.
This was especially true starting in 1946, when New York gangster Bugsy Siegel used mob money to build the Flamingo Hotel, ushering in a new era of over-the-top Vegas-style glitz. With this new mob influence came new methods of detecting and taking care of casino undesirables.
They've taken guys in the back and threatened to cut their fingers off with pinking shears. They burn people with cigarettes.
By the late 1980s, most casinos of the world were owned by highly regulated public companies and were run like any other big business. With this increased sophistication came professional security operations, organized databases of undesirables, and lots of cameras.
The typical, at least mega resort in Las Vegas now, has 1,000, if not more, cameras throughout the casino. They can track every movement you make from the minute you set on the property till the time you go to bed in the room, till the time you leave. All of this information is fed into a simple command that looks like a NASA space center. Many casinos between the cheater and card count. So they really go on DEFCON 4 when they see somebody they suspect may be doing something.
Although crafty and secretive, card counting is not cheating.
Card counting is simply playing intelligently. Cheating is breaking the rules and manipulating the game to your advantage. It's not illegal. They're not cheating. They're using their brains to solve a problem.
We're just using our heads. I mean, we're just doing what the rules say.
We're giving cards. The dealer's giving cards.
You just click on
All
the
we're
random
doing is
color.
deciding whether to take more cards or not, and how much to bet. That's it.
Although card counting is perfectly legal, casinos view it as an undesirable activity. If they catch you doing it, they can, as a private business, permanently bar you from entering their premises. This sets up the ultimate cat and mouse game, card counter versus casino. And it raises the stakes for Mr. M and his budding venture.
So you're trying to stay invisible while at the same time bet as much money as humanly possible out there. So you're ducking, you're sneaking around, you're coming out of your cubby going to get the choose, and you take it and you scurry off to the next place, hopefully before they snap the trap on you.
In March 1992, an elaborate business plan is drawn up. Legal papers are filed to register the new limited partnership, Strategic Investments LP. The listed partners are Mr. M, Bill, and John. Its stated goal is to apply mathematical analyses to win at the game of blackjack. The venture is described as an ongoing enterprise that will last at least till the end of the decade.
I think it drew immediate interest from me as an investor, from just themselves, between Bill, Mr. M, and John. They were able to get quite a bit of the investment capital.
Financial split is a crucial factor in the success of any blackjack team. It has to be fair.
Strategic investments was structured a little differently from past blackjack teams. There was more money paid to management in strategic investments on the basis of there being more management and better management and more training needed.
With the strategic investments venture off and running, Mr. M and his partners turn to recruitment.
The ideal recruit for strategic investments is somebody who, first of all, had some degree of intelligence.
Secondly, you have to be sufficiently focused and diligent to actually practice to the point where the simple tasks that you have to perform.
You want people that want to make money. You need somebody that's aggressive, that isn't afraid, or isn't going to freeze in the casino.
But who among these brilliant, industrious students has the right stuff? Some are recruited by word of mouth. Tales of over-the-top casino comps, suites, limos, front row show tickets. Big bankrolls, the Vegas life are an inducement for some.
I think it was what I call an enjoyable byproduct.
Katie, an engineering major at MIT, is familiar with the legend of the team and one of the few female recruits.
It just really appealed to me, the idea of the casino. The casino always seemed like such an unfair enterprise, taking advantage of people's weaknesses.
Some recruits are seduced by flyers.
There were flyers around about, need money, tuition short, learn to play blackjack.
It's the early spring of 1992 when Semyon Dukach is turned on to the blackjack team. A Russian immigrant who grew up in Houston, Semyon is an MIT student studying computer science.
I was walking down the hallway and I saw a poster about the MIT blackjack team. I'd already been thinking of blackjack. I was very excited. I thought this was a great opportunity for me to meet people who are really doing something that I had dreamed about.
So one night in April 1992, a meeting begins that will change the organized playing of blackjack forever. It is the launch of strategic investments.
I arrived in a room in building room 143 at the time specified on the poster, and I saw Mr. M, as well as perhaps 30 or 40 MIT students, and he was telling them about how they could make money playing blackjack.
By this time, I had gotten it down pretty well. I started off explaining the history of card counting, the fact that you could both theoretically and practically beat the game.
This is all governed by the law of large numbers. It works. I mean, if you were to go to a casino and make dozens of trips over the next year, you might win a tremendous amount of money, but you might lose a lot of money. That's just the math of the game. But, it's part of the game. You get 10, 20, 30 people doing it all together. The chances are great that you win a tremendous amount of money, and the chances are almost nil that you would lose any money. That's why my promise is not a scam. That's why we can beat the casinos, as we have been doing for almost a decade now. Yeah, question?
I had actually raised my hand and I had asked Mr. M whether they employed shuffle tracking techniques in addition to simple card count.
Do you guys just use high-low counting, or do you actually use non-random shuffling techniques, front-loading, spooking?
So you've been reading a little bit on the subject. Well, let me just say this for right now. We do everything that you ever heard of, and a lot of things that you haven't. Stick around, you'll learn it all.
Mr. M made an inspirational presentation that evening, and he got a lot of these kids excited about joining the MIT Black team.
Mr. M was inspiring to a nerd. I mean, I'm a nerd, okay? And so the kind of stuff that he wanted to do was the kind of stuff that I was into.
I had no idea if I was going to make money or not. But, I mean, the promise was, the investors were putting up all the money. I didn't have to put up a dime. And, I mean, that definitely made all the difference.
You guys are serious. This is MIT. Smart people really beat the casinos. I'd like to get involved. I'd like to get good at it. And I'd like to take it seriously.
To take it seriously, the recruits must submit to a grueling training schedule, hours a day for up to 6 months, capped by the infamous checkout stress test.
Check out before play, or not before midnight,
During the training, Mr. Reynolds partners will teach Samuel Ducach, Katie, and the other recruits secret card counting techniques that will strike fear in the hearts of casino managers. Techniques designed to liberate millions of dollars in cash and cards from casinos. Techniques that will validate Mr. M's reputation and make his MIT blackjack team world famous. Strategic investments of a limited partnership set up to run the biggest, best organized MIT blackjack team ever.
So 10% bonus pull for the players will be paid in direct proportion to your actual winnings.
An impressive sum, over $500,000 has been raised to date. Escape to the venture.
On a true count of 6, your expected value is 2.5%. But now you have to bring in your certainty of fortune.
Mr. M's recruits are now ready to discover the extraordinary secrets of card counting. Basic strategy, the high-low count, and team play.
Variance in the count of X decks from a total of V is well approximated by 40 times 1 minus X over V.
Card counting was just theory until 1958, when a young, methodical UCLA math professor read an obscure technical paper. The name of the paper was Optimum Strategy in Blackjack. Name of the professor? Edward O. Thornton, card counting's soon-to-be